What's up, everybody? Big Herc 916, getting down fresh out. You know, we do it over here. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Make sure you go to freshoutseries.com, pick up some merch, wash your ass, support, and you don't want to miss out on any of the events we have coming up, so sign up as a member. I'm here with Kylie, the hot pool girl, getting down with some prison talks, and man, she got some crazy stories. You guys thought men's prison was off the hook. She said these women are just mind-blowing as far as some of the stuff she's seen and witnessed. What's some of the crazy stories that really stick out in your mind that you've seen or been around in women's prison that people on the street would just have no idea?
I would say the innovation on some of the things that women creatively make for themselves. Not to be too graphic, but the first time I ever saw a prison strap-on, it was alarming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That was actually in county too, so that was interesting. I don't know how they stole some of that contraband.
Where they hide it at?
Yeah, well, all I know is when they found it during the shakedown and the cop was waving it around, I was like, all right, well, well, we know what they were doing in there. Yeah, some of the self DIY projects were definitely interesting. Some of the just a lot of girls go in there straight, right? And they have a joke in women's prison that you're gay for the stay, straight at the gate. I didn't believe that until I actually got to prison. I was like, wow, everybody claims to be bi because they're trying to get had by the boys. And I'm like, but you know she still has a vagina, right? Okay. That was very shocking for me.
Is there a lot of married women playing the same game?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Most of them are married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think the worst offenders would be married for sure. And their husbands come every weekend to visit them. And then their girlfriend's sitting in the visiting room with her boyfriend or her mans or her Sancho.
Oh, shit. It's a party.
Yeah, for sure. And the way, obviously there was drugs on the yard. I wasn't a partaker. That's not why, drugs got me to prison, so... But just seeing some of the ways that some of these lifers or just long-termers would fiend for drugs. I thought I'd seen it all before, being a recovering heroin addict. No, definitely not. I'm talking about one needle in the yard that they were passing around to different housing units.
Oh.
Yeah, 90% of them had Hep C because they were I didn't believe it until one time one of my roommates was in that circle. And her whole behavior all day, I think even her daughter and her mom came, was just awful, the worst doping I've ever seen. And it's because she was waiting on a needle that they're self-sharpening, and that Damn. To me was just, God. And I feel I've seen a lot of the grimy,
Yeah.
But that one was very shocking. I feel to see firsthand an account. Yeah, for the most dirty little line of whatever, they're just. It's sad. It's sad to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the drug addiction is definitely, the extent at which people will go through to get high, especially in prison. Even in men's prison, Hep C is big. Everybody's sharing the same needle.
That's what I've heard,
the keystering that thing. It's God, man.
Even how they get drugs in is alarming. CIW's visiting room is much different than Chowchillo's. I would say CIW doesn't have as much high-tech, surveillance probably, because it's an older campus. But yeah, the way they fiend outside the visiting room and hanging on the chain link fence because they know somebody's in visiting about to cop something, it's you guys are so obvious and burnt out, first of all.
God.
But
so that's a big economy in there too, as well as in the
I couldn't believe how much they sell that for. I'm I'm in the wrong business, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that.
Yeah, I've heard I know guys in men's prison making $20,000-$30,000 a month. It's
yeah. And And I mean, the reality is most of that comes in through cops, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah, just like the cell phones.
Yeah. So I was in a room at one point that had a phone, and it was trippy to me. It's not
Did
something.
you run across a lot of COs messing with female prisoners?
So I actually had my own experience with that. There was this, oh my God, skinny, I just want you to get a full visual of this. Skinny, tall, just slimy, like greasy. He wore his hat sideways, just like
Oh, shit.
just like he reminded me of like a slime ball vaquero, you know, like those cowboys that like I'm sure that's what he was on the weekends, kind of.
Yeah.
He was just, always just making inappropriate comments, like just he was disgusting. He was a fucking pig. I had a job. I was like a porter because I was trying to do something in my time when I was still at Chowchilla. So my laundry slot got messed up, and I was trying to stay out like right before count to like get my clothes so I could change for work. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you want to stay out?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I kind of need my work clothes." And he goes, "Okay, if you clean like our bathroom, the cops' bathroom, which was like a usual thing for a porter, you can stay out and get your laundry." I was like, "Whatever, deal." So I'm like the only one out, which already looks weird because there was supposed to be one other porter. So I'm like, "You're setting me up for failure on this one." So he said, "I'll open the supply closet for you." So he opens the closet door, and I walk past the light, and he like puts his hand over it, and I'm like, okay, like, joke's on me. So I go to get, I think, like the stack of tissue and the paper towels and the spray bottle. And he goes, "So what are you going to show me for letting you stay out?" And I look at him.
Oh, wow.
And I looked at him and I was like, "Oh, I'm not the one. And if you think I'm going to what? Show you some tits and ass for a laundry slot? You're going to have to try harder than that." And I like dropped the stuff on the floor. And I was like, "Pop my door. I'm going back to my cell." Like, "You're so gross." But the story was that he was the one that would routinely manipulate the younger ones. But I thought it was so funny. I was like, really? Does that actually work on people? Like,
well, it's almost like they say in men's prison, prison hot, where like, you know, it's like you wouldn't look on and say, "Oh man, she's prison hot." So they, you know, they're
my God,
romanticizing a guard, and she's like, "Oh my God, this and that." But you know, you wouldn't dare.
he's like the dumb ones you hear. So I was in prison with a girl who was having a relationship. I don't know if you've heard the story. So she was having a relationship with a guard, got pregnant, and then basically told on him. Like, was
That's rape, right?
any sort of, because you can't consent because you're in a position of power.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he went to prison for 15 years. She got paid and got out and came
Damn.
back to prison. Yeah. She's
Holy
actually from
shit.
Oxnard. So yeah.
Wow, got out and went right back?
Yeah, she was giving him oral and saved his in her
Oh,
mouth.
wow.
But because she was starting to show, so she had to tell them at some point.
Yeah.
Because she'd already been in, I think, like, it was a few years. So yeah, his life was over. He, I think, was married with kids.
Oh,
Yeah, like, for what? I mean, I'm whatever.
yeah. It's, you know, I met a guard. He said he worked at a women's prison for 1 week. And he said, "I had to get up out of there."
Oh yeah, there was another guy that was under investigation because he liked to, I guess, aggressively screw girls with his gun loaded in their mouth.
What?
Like psycho shit. And these are guards that are protecting us. That was scary. Another guy, this was like confirmed true. He was a housing staff for like, I guess 6 years on and off. Was in a relationship with a girl for pretty much the whole 6 years. She paroled, and they couldn't wait for her to be like off parole, and she had moved in with him. Well, it flagged in the system. At some point they realized, like, wait, your address is a CO's house. So they put two and two together. They're like, well, you obviously this has been going on. So they're like, look, you can take your pension and retire early, or you can push the issue and you're not going to lose, like, or you're not going to win this investigation. So he quietly like retired. We never saw him again. I just don't understand, like, if it's worth your career.
You know, well, you
The
see,
power of pussy, I guess.
yeah, the power of pussy, and you know, and the fact that these guys in those positions feel like they have something over. It's almost like
That's sick.
a political blackmail. You know,
Yeah.
like, you want to work for me, then come back here. You know, do this. You know, it's like a control. It's a power thing. You know, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I heard it's worse in men's prison with some of those female guards. That's all I ever see on the news.
Yeah, well, with the women and the guards, I mean, literally, I've seen guys where the women would come in and talk or sit on the counter. And as soon as they leave, they go sniff the counter. They're like, oh, you know, like, oh my God, you know, they're trying to anything they can do because it's like, you know, a lot of guys, you can't be gay for to stay in prison because you're just gay.
Yeah.
Men's prison, you're a punk. You're not
there's
pretending. So you can't say, oh man, I was busting his cheeks because I was in here and then I got a wife. Nah, man, you were a cheek buster on the street. So, let that go. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of guys, that use women in prison to kind of like, when they get out, maybe have them, a helping hand, because a lot of guys like, come up off the guard or whatever. I've ran into a couple guys like that, so I know it does happen. But I just figured like in women's prison, I know, especially these guys who wouldn't get no play on the street are in there trying to manipulate situations because, they feel they can and get away with it.
I could see that. Yeah, there was this one CO on A Yard. He was a newer guy. Super attractive, all the girls fawned over him. I could have gotten in a lot of trouble, so I owe him something because he caught me slipping out of somebody's room the next morning when we were lining up. He totally saw. I did lose my porter job for him, but yeah, I never got written up for it. So I was like, you know what? You're the real one.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna push the issue with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine like especially a good-looking dude. You're like shit. You're into the gig because I mean.
Oh, I should have gone to the shoot for that, especially on AR. Like they're not. I spent the whole night in somebody else's room.
Oh, shit. So he gave you a pass.
Yeah, he didn't write me up. And he basically made a joke over it, though. So, like, I showed up for work that afternoon. He goes, oh, you don't have a job for me anymore. And I was like, are you serious? He goes, really? Do you want me to tell you why? Or I'm like, no, I'm going back to my cell. I'll see you later. So then his partner came on, and he goes, Sluder, can you report to the cop shop? And I'm like, calling me out. Everybody's already locked down. And I was like, oh, no. So I went up there, and he goes, oh, tell my partner that joke you told me. And I was like, can I have my job back? He's like, put over the loudspeaker. That's a good one. Go back to your cell.
So he like made it like clown about it?
Yeah, he was clowning me, but he never wrote me up. So I let him talk his shit.
Yeah, at least he was cool with it.
Yeah, I just let him talk his shit. I walked to shame for sure.
Wow. Oh man, women's prison, man. What was that show? Because everybody's watched that show, Black is the New.
Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black.
It is nothing like that.
Nothing like that, huh? Hey, there you have it, man. Big Herc 916 fresh out, getting down on Kylie. You tired of smelling like stanky butt, funky armpits? Wash your ass. Go to FreshOutSeries.com and pick you up a bar of soap.